All right, Gary, thanks for joining us again. Amazing podcast we had. And we have this last section called Leveling Up with TKM. David, I'm going to pass it to you for the one question that we ask all of our guests.
Yes, and I love how we say it's one question because it's two parts. So we kind of sneak a question in there. So
Okay.
we're not trying to be manipulative in any way, but get more of your time. But that we definitely appreciate it. So here's a question, Gary. What is the most impactful action you have taken to level up in your home and in your businesses?
Well, it's to focus on not things I do, but the relationship I have with Jesus Christ. I think so much of I'm a doer and an action guy, and relationships are not what I think about the most, but I've grown into the realization that everything flows out of my relationship with Jesus Christ. There's a verse in 1 Peter or 2 Peter that says, we have everything we need for life and godliness in Jesus Christ.
That's awesome. And you mentioned it in the podcast, you mentioned it now. And it's interesting for someone like me to hear you say, you're not great at or love, you're not great at the relationship side of it. You're a doer, you're task. And what I love about that is it's your self-awareness, your acknowledgement, but also just living in those gifts. Cause like someone like me, I'm very, very relationally driven. And that's where I think my gifting is. And I'm not gifted in, a lot of the areas that are also very, very beneficial and required and necessary to build businesses, to run families, to have schedules, all those kind of things. So your self-awareness is humbling, but it also is very, very encouraging to live in that gifting, and then to acknowledge God in that is a beautiful thing, man. So I think that really helps you to level up your game, your influence, your impact, and it's an inspiration. So thank you for that.
Yep. Thank you.
And Gary, I am exactly like you. I'm on the strengths. I'm a strengths finder. I'm like the number one strength is achiever. So I'm a doer. I'm a checklist guy. I'll put like a box with a check to mark even after I've done it, just so I can check off the box, right? And so, like a follow-on question, really just selfishly for me, like how did you get to that stage of one? I mean, to David's point, understanding, but then two, like what's the practical like step of forcing yourself to seek relationship?
Well, I think it comes out of this this idea that chaos is rooted in purpose. If you get that in your head, that God is our designer and he created us, he gave us the ability to choose purpose. And you read what his purpose is, which is to have a relationship with us. At being an action-oriented person, I was able to translate having a relationship into an action. So I had to morph this is something for me to do, which is build a relationship.
You gamed it. I love that.
And
I love that. That is so cool.
Well, that's just the way he's wired me, but it has become the most important thing in my life. And I can tell when I do things. Remember when David said, don't take your spirit from me in the middle of his sin? I can tell when I do things that the spirit sort of steps back, or at least I stepped away. And I hate it. I hate the feeling that I'm not as close. And that has become a motivation to quit doing some stupid stuff that 20 years ago I wouldn't have cared about. So
good stuff. Thank you, Gary. Guys and gals, you heard it. Seek relationship with Jesus.
Amen.
Huge impact. Thanks, Gary. See you.
Bye.